Testing, testing. Sounds good. Good evening is funny. I obviously it's good evening in India, but over here, yes, good morning, I suppose. Yes, good evening. Hello, how are you guys doing? Just wanted a little chat in the middle of the day for me. What are you guys up to? Ask me some fun questions, some coding stuff, some AI stuff, some fun, just life stuff, whatever you want, really. Just looking for a chat to hang out with you guys and get to know you better. Okay, hi everybody. So please tell me where we can learn all the things related to LLMs. Suggest me some resources. So I think that Coursera has some really good stuff for LLMs personally. Coursera is doing very interesting, by the way, these days. Not sure if you noticed. Coursera stock is, well, apparently it's up 1.84% today, which makes it look okay, but it's really not. Down 82% in the last 5 years. Okay, maximum. Yeah, so at some point they were at $54, and now they're at $8. So not sure about Coursera's financials, but I would have to say, for us students here, there's lots of stuff on LLMs on Coursera. Deep Learning AI does a really good job with keeping up to date with the generative AI stuff. In fact, I follow their stock, and one of the reasons that it is, investors are slightly hopeful is because of they have a lot of people that are joining these courses. As you can see, 2,600 reviews. Wasn't that long ago since they made this, so I would probably say something like this. This is probably a little bit more practical. If you want to take the Transformers course, they have the natural language processing specialization, which covers those. They also have in the sequence models course, this is an old course, but they added in the Transformers part at some point. Let me see. Modules. Yeah, so it used to be just these three, but then once Transformers became really popular, they added this in as well. And honestly, Transformers basically just took away the need for any of this stuff. It's of course saying my bitrate is lower than recommended. Okay, let me increase that as usual. Means it's probably blurry for you guys, which I obviously don't want. Let me see here. Output. Yes. Okay, 8,000 kilobits per second. Let's see if that is enough. I really don't know this stuff very well at all. It's now saying open widget. Good connection. Okay, here we go. We recommend you use a stream bit rate of 13,500. Wow. Okay, still way too slow. All right, let's ramp this up here. I'm going to be clogging the whole internet for the building. That's fine by me, homie. All right. 9,000. 10,000. That seems like a lot. I guess it's because I'm streaming at a really high resolution and 60 FPS, which is probably not necessary. But let's see if it's able to handle this. 13,500 as it recommends here. I'm still getting green bars. Yeah, I'm still getting green bars. And YouTube is saying stream health is confused, of course. Now it says good connection. Whatever, sounds good enough for me. Okay. All right, back to this anyways. So yeah, for learning LLMs, I would definitely recommend this course. Obviously, Andrew, pretty much everybody in machine learning knows him. He is really good at this stuff. Okay, next question. Help me with dynamic programming. I can do that. So, of course, I'm not really going to turn this... should I turn this into a dynamic programming lesson? I'm considering it. I'll ask that in the chat. Should I teach DP right now? Can I do a poll? I should be able to do a poll, right? That's just a chat. I don't know how to do a poll. Is there a way to like this? Some people are saying yes. It says the stream's bitrate is lower than recommended. Bro, it's so high. What is it saying? That's such a lie. Okay, how do I do a poll? I'm so confused. Whatever. Some people said no. Okay, Sai says good morning. Yes, it is good morning for me. Thank you. Good evening. Yeah. So my question is how do people manage time to upskill? To be specific, I want to upgrade my front-end skills and revise DSA. Time is just flying for me. So for me, in my time at university, I was probably the busiest because at the University of Waterloo, it got overloaded with work in the times where you're preparing for interviews for co-ops. Sometimes I quite genuinely had like sometimes 10 to 20 interviews in the span of like 2 weeks. Basically what happens is that all of your interviews end up happening in like the same couple weeks or so. And so you have like tons of schoolwork, you have tons of exams, and sometimes midterms, it depends. But you have tons of work, and then you have tons of interviews. So in the middle of all of that, was still trying to learn basically what we're looking at right now here. This is how I grew up a lot of my knowledge, especially during university, during my statistics time, and I would learn this stuff and just spam like Coursera courses to master machine learning and just do as much practice as I could. And that's where I got my start on YouTube, which is, I have like hundreds of videos doing different machine learning models, doing different data analytics like pandas and NumPy and SQL and that sort of thing. So to answer your question of how do you find the time to upskill, it really is the time that you've got. Like, I know it might seem obvious, but when you're watching YouTube or Netflix or whatever it is, it's just that time. And especially before bed, I was in a really good habit of, now I'm just like playing chess or live streaming or something like that. But definitely in university, I was in a really good habit of just reading like a research paper before bed, reading like a book, doing any sort of thing at night. So for me, it would be like theory in the evenings and then practice during the day. And whether you're a student or you have a job or whatever, especially if you have a remote job, and you do have some free hours, then absolutely, you can do a little bit of your own thing. That's okay. So just use the time that you've got. Sadeep says, I'm a coding god. I appreciate it. Started LeetCode recently. Video helps a lot. Heart from India. Yeah, no problem. Really happy that it's been helpful. Honestly, I just did the process like everybody else does, which is, who just became a member? I don't know how to say that name. Is it Koa or Ko? Anyways, thank you so much for the support on the channel. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, honestly, I just followed the process that I've laid out here. So I just grinded like basically the blind 75 questions, looked up the solutions when necessary, and I turned it into this. So I might look like a coding god, but honestly, it's just using the time that I have to just code as much as possible. And the big thing for me is to do the questions over and over again. Like, you have no clue how many times I've done some of these questions. Like, what's a good example? Like these ones, valid anagram and two-sum and group anagrams. Group anagrams, I absolutely love that problem. I've done these questions so many times that I just know it really, really well. And that's a big thing for most people, is they feel like it's a bad thing to memorize, where they like do the question and then for some reason you feel like you don't want to like really understand it, so you just kind of leave it and don't do it again. But the trick is to do the same questions over and over again, because one thing, like, exact questions do sometimes get asked. So like, you'll see how many times group anagrams gets asked. It's a lot. Like, this happens very, very commonly. This date thing here, for a while I actually thought it was like, if you've been at Amazon for like 0 to 3 months, then this is them asking that. But what it really means is like recently, like they've asked it this many times in the last 3 months. At least I think that's what it means. In the last 6 months, these companies have asked it, and in the last 6 months, or more than 6 months, Adobe asked it 37 times and whatnot. So that's pretty crazy. So there's no problem with like really, really, really understanding these questions, because especially if you can understand something like, I pick group anagrams in particular because it kind of ties everything together. You use a hash map, you have to understand immutable versus mutable objects. You have to understand how sorting works both in your programming language and just how long that takes. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. So definitely solve group anagrams if you haven't already. But yeah, honestly, I've just done the questions over and over again, and then I've tutored people for them. I've made videos for them, and you just learn it really well. Like I could do most of these questions just by looking at them because I've done it so many times. You have an interview on Monday on React, so I have to prepare for it. What tips would you give? If you have an interview on Monday in React, then honestly, yeah, I would just read about it as much as you possibly can. Like a lot of people use React and they don't really know how it works. I would say that I'm probably one of those people. I don't really know too much about how it works, but I do know for these front-end libraries that there can be a ton of theory to understand the different optimizations that they're giving and the reasons that that they are actually used. Most people just say like use React because it's what everybody uses, and that's true. But the reason is because it's obviously extremely optimized, and I'm not a React expert, but you have to learn about that theory yourself. Can you explain to me the question of no number of the island in the graph? Honestly, yeah, I probably could do that. So I'm assuming you're talking about number of islands, so we can definitely talk about that one. Let me just get my code for that. Okay, so basically this question, I should probably make myself really small here, otherwise I'm gonna be way in the way. I'm gonna be really small. Looks like that should be fine. Oh no, I'm too small. That's too funny. It just looks too funny. Let me see. If we do that looks like it should be fine. Let me get some spaces here to bring it a little bit lower. Okay, that looks pretty good. So basically the idea on number of islands is we're given an m by n 2D binary grid called grid. It's representing a map of ones, which is land, and zeros, which are water, and we need to return the number of islands. So basically what an island is you can see these connected ones here. So this is one island because it's either a one is connected to another one if it is above it, below it, to the left, to the right of it, so not diagonal. These two are not connected, but these two are. And so basically these all form an island, and the zeros are around it. So there's just one island here. This one, we have these four here, which is an island. We have this one, which is another island, and these two, which is another island. So we have 3 total here. Okay. So the idea here is that basically we get m and n. So m is the number of rows. We get n is the number of columns. And before looking at what this DFS does, basically what we're going to do for most of these types of problems is you still have to like iterate through the grid. And so we have 0 islands so far. We go through each I and j position. Okay, we see each position. Now, if that position's a 1, that means we have a new island. So we have +1 of those. And then we do a DFS from there. Now, the DFS does not just traverse through the connected ones. It is actually going to basically delete the island that exists. So what it does here is DFS on a position I and j. This is your big check that always comes up in these types of problems, which is basically if you're out of bounds, this is I less than 0. So if you're above the grid, if you are below the grid, if you are to the left of it or to the right of it, then that means you're out of bounds. So you just return. There's nothing to do there. Or if you're in bounds and it's not a 1, aka that it's a 0, you have nothing to do there. So it's just return. So that's your big long base case there. And then otherwise, basically what it means is that you're at a position which is a 1. And so you can safely set that to be a 0, and then you do a DFS on every connected position. So we do DFS on this is 1 to the right, this is 1 below, this is 1 to the left, and this is 1 above. So we iterate through the grid, and we do a DFS through that, and you delete that island. So that basically if you're here and you do your DFS, it's going to do the DFS around these positions and delete that island. Then when you iterate over to this position, it simply just ignores it, because that case here of if grid ij is equal to 1, that's not going to pass because you deleted in the previous DFS. So this ultimately makes it a time of O of m times n and space of O of m times n, because you're iterating through the grid, that's an m times n, and then basically you're doing another DFS that could at most hit the grid again. Like if it was all 1s, then basically your first DFS would just delete the whole island. It would take m times n to do that, and then from there, every single iteration would just be a 0. So you wouldn't have to do anything for that. So that's basically the answer to that question right there. Hopefully that helped. Is backend with Java still worthy? Yeah, Java's extremely common for backend. How can I start machine learning AI and building projects related to it? Koa, so thank you so much for your donation, by the way. I really do appreciate that. So obviously, I am going to recommend my own thing because I spent a very long time building this. If you are looking to start learning machine learning, then my company mlnow.ai is a great choice. You can learn all of Python, all of SQL, all of NumPy and Pandas, and then learn basically every important machine learning model other than neural networks from Machine Learning Mastery with Scikit-learn. So this is my best recommendation. You can do it in an interactive way. However, that is a paid thing, as you will see. If you are looking to learn about it for free, I have lots of YouTube videos for that. So I actually have a data science playlist. So I have so many playlists now because of the data structures stuff. It's really just crowded the whole thing. It looks like so much more than the whole channel just because I've done so many different playlists in it, but it's really not. Greg's path to become a data scientist. I'm not big on this SQL video. I need to update that. But honestly, other than that, pretty much here is everything. So this is all of the preparatory work. So like Spark and the graphing libraries and NumPy and whatnot. And then we start to get into machine learning models, different metrics for those, binary classification metrics, advanced techniques for training like cross-validation and train-to-test splits, and then I do like a ton of projects here as well, lots and lots of projects leading up until some of the most advanced stuff, which is like distributed machine learning and automated machine learning. And this video here, awesome resource for data science projects, that is actually showcasing that at mlnow.ai, we actually have a project for each of these. So for example, in the Machine Learning Mastery Scikit-learn course, it should show at some point. Actually, don't even remember where I did it. Yeah, right here. It'll show you that I have like a video for every single one of these, which is a web app that I make that does machine learning along with it. So it's very good. And this is exclusive to like the paid thing, so you'd have to pay for that. Man, I just love how I built this website. Like, doesn't it look good? I really am proud of myself for making this thing. It just looks fantastic. I love it. So that's my answer for that. Also, Krish Naik is really good, as a lot of I'm sure a lot of you Indian people would know him. Okay, Dung. So I am preparing for an interview with the job of machine learning engineer. Any suggestion for me? Preparing for an interview with the job for machine learning. So basically, there's a few different things that get asked in machine learning interviews. One is data structures. So it's kind of silly. You could definitely argue that this is a silly thing. But honestly, this is the main gatekeeper that always happens, is data structures and algorithm stuff. As people start asking, as there's more and more candidates for these jobs, because so many people are studying this stuff, more and more people are applying to these jobs, and therefore they are going to keep asking data structures and algorithms questions, just as kind of like a gatekeeper like thing to basically just to get rid of a bunch of candidates, honestly. Number 2, if you can do that, is definitely SQL and database. So these are very, very common in any sort of data interview, but definitely in machine learning, they need you to be able to be very strong in SQL fundamentals. So they'll probably ask you some type of typical SQL question, or maybe something like designing these architectures, like how the database might look, and maybe into the system design, like more theoretical aspects of how you can build those well. Number 3 is basically just machine learning stuff. So machine learning, they're going to ask you sort of generic questions about what you've done with machine learning, why it's... they might ask you questions about different theory aspects. So I've been asked some pretty tricky deep learning questions about various models and why they exist. Like, for example, there is stuff like the exception network, which was pretty popular when I was doing a lot of this stuff. This became very popular. This is from Medium, but basically it's just a very advanced computer vision architecture. It's not as good now because a lot of this stuff is shifting to transformers, which is pretty cool. But they will likely ask you some advanced deep learning stuff, so be prepared for that, and probably less so about like the specifics of like TensorFlow and PyTorch. Generally, they keep it pretty generic. So yeah, data structures, SQL and database, machine learning, and then they may ask you some system design stuff. So there's lots of great books for that, like designing big data. I forget what it's called. Designing advanced. What is it called? What's that system design book? System design. Designing scalable systems. Is that what it's called? Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Designing data-intensive applications. This is the big book for that. You could, of course, do, as we just saw there, the system design interview. This one is going to give you a very nice, very specific to the interview of how that works. This guy also has a website as well if you want to check that out. So yeah, generally it's those 4 things. Occasionally they'll ask something like probability. So they might ask, I'll just leave it as, say, math questions. But those are for the very, very advanced roles, like so in stuff like OpenAI and the really nerdy. I encountered a lot of them in like my University of Waterloo experience, because a lot of them are there. For the very nerdy groups of people, they will ask probability questions like Bayes theory, and you wish it was just Bayes theory. It's stuff that can be way more complicated than that, but I wouldn't prepare too much for that. Basic statistics, though, so I will say like basic statistics like distributions, you know, normal distribution, all those sorts of ones as well. Okay, next question. Yeah, there's the help me with dynamic programming. Maybe. Do I know sleep sort? It's so cool. Which one is sleep sort again? Sleep sort. Sleep sort, the king of laziness. I love the name. Yo, okay, side note, Geeks for Geeks is the most trash website ever. Like, my computer physically freaks out, and it's a very good computer. My computer physically freaks out when I load the site because it has so many ads that just go flying. Like, you can't even see the ads that are playing. There's so many of them. Like, if you just scroll through, you'll see, and throws it in the middle, on the sides, on the bottom, on the sides. It's so frustrating to me. And so I can hear my computer, like, and it's, you know, it's in the corner over there. When I load this website, it's the only website that happens for me. When I load this website, it just my computer freaks out. It cannot handle it. So anyways, what is this sorting algorithm? Input is 8 to 9. That's not sorted. 3 seconds, we sleep 8. 6 seconds, we sleep 2. Okay, so we're sleeping the number of the element that we're looking at. 8, that means S, right? 2 wakes up, so print it. Sleep 9. 8 wakes it up, so print. What? Oh. Sleep 8, sleep 2. So 2 wakes up first. so it's first. Then we sleep 9. 8 is going to wake up, so print that. Then 9 is going to... Does that work? Is that actually, like, is that guaranteed to sort it? That's a crazy sort. Doesn't work for negative numbers. Huh. Let's get away from that. Hi, I'm doing Java. What projects can I make for my resume? So, okay. So projects are not quite what they used to be. Honestly, it used to be a lot about showcasing your very specific programming knowledge, like in that programming language. But now I think it's really, really, really about doing stuff that provides insane value, because there's so many people that know Java. There's so many people that know JavaScript, and you really, really have to make something amazing. So if you want to make an awesome project, let's just write project here. And this doesn't matter whether it's Java or whatever. This could go for anything here. You need to, and this is going to sound really sarcastic, but I mean it. I really mean it. Make something that, get ready for it, doesn't suck. Okay? Yep, hold the applause there. Honestly, though, like, people don't get this one. People really think that you should just, like, look up project. This is what, I know this is what you do. Everybody does this. It's like, oh, see, my computer's not working at Geeks for Geeks. So what project should I make in Java? So people do this. You're going to search that, and you're going to see something, simply learn, that gives you an idea, and you're just going to do it. And most people are not even going to do this project themselves. They're probably going to just look here. They'll read something like top 10 projects. They'll actually look for the code. They'll take the code, and then they will use it, and then they'll slightly manipulate it, change the CSS, deploy it on something, and then call it their own project. And it's painful. Employers will see through that immediately. They will sniff your resume, and they'll look at it, and honestly, even without clicking the link, I can tell a lot of the time where it's like, especially for the machine learning stuff, I was pretty into that for a while. People would make a resume that looked like this. They'd have their project, and they'd write something like MNIST. Now, I'm not sure if you know what that is, because I'm probably more machine learning than a lot of you folks. But MNIST is the most basic thing that you could possibly imagine in machine learning. It's basically just taking this very small, both small in each image is small and a small number of images, and they're training a classifier in that to recognize handwritten digits. It is the 101. It is one of the 101s in machine learning, along with Titanic and California housing prices. And I use those. Tons of my tutorials have those because they're great, but they are not resume worthy. And so it is a huge takeaway from your resume. If you put stuff like this on your resume, I will immediately discard that. So please take this to heart, which is not this. You do not want your project just to be MNIST. You want it to be something that no one can describe. Okay, so you want, or not no one can describe, no one can make easily. So something that, get ready for it, that hasn't been done. Easy. It doesn't need to be some insane idea that's like, Tesla's revolutionizing electric cars. They had nothing. They were boring before that, and they made them amazing, and now they're incredible. It doesn't need to be like that. But what it does need to be is simply the sentence, something that hasn't exactly been done. And that doesn't just mean change the CSS or deploy on something different and then suddenly it's new. It does need to be something where someone reads it and they go, that is actually an interesting idea. I've never thought of that, or I've never had that spin on that before. I've never thought of it in that way. And that's it. And mostly, something that takes time. So most people want to do their project like super, super quickly and just throw it on their resume and get a job. Like I know 90% of you folks like just get a project and just put it on your resume, and you do that within a few days. There's things that I've done here, and things that, of course, everybody's done stuff, but things that I've done here that you can see that it takes a lot of time. So I have AlgoMap, of course. I'm sure you guys know. This took like a year Like, this took a lot of work to make, not the website. The website was fine. This is just a way of sharing it with people. It took a lot of time to make all the videos for this, organize all of the code into to the repository, and to make the theory courses as well. It took a really, really, really long time. It took, if you were seriously to math it out, if we did, say each video took approximately 40 minutes. That's it's hard to say because some of them take 10 minutes, some of them take an hour and a half. But let's say on average, let's say 30 minutes. So if there's 100 questions here, 30 times 100 is 3,000 minutes. There's probably another 5 hours-ish in theory. So that would be 5 times 6, so another 300 minutes. So say another 300. 3,300 minutes. So 55 hours at least. That's honestly a huge underestimate. That's not even close. I don't know if I just did terrible math and I just completely messed it up. It's way, way more than that. Like it's hundreds of hours. So I guess it took more than, I guess it took a lot more than that for each video. But you get the point, guys. Things take time. So just take the time that you need. I know that everyone needs money and everyone wants a job, and I get it. But take a project, make a project that takes time. What is the name of the drawing program I use? It's called Miro. I absolutely love it. You can see it at the top, hopefully. Miro. It's called Miro. It's really, really, really good. How am I doing? I'm doing good, Snippet. Love the name, Snippet Sensations. I am doing good. Help me with DP. Every problem in DP. Oh, this is... Uh-oh. That is not at all... why are they giving me this? See, I've been burned on this before. They demonetize the live stream because I start playing stuff that's called, like, no copyright music, and then they put on stuff like this, Lights, which is obviously copyrighted. Even though it's a nitty-gritty remix, it's still copyrighted. So let's bring that back. Stupid. Let's just stick on the channel on a playlist. I don't even know if you guys can hear this, but I'm listening to it. Wow, why are these playlists? They're just one video. Is it like a super long video? 2 minutes. They made a 2-minute long playlist. Why? Sure. 9 videos. That's fine. Do I need data structures and algorithms for data engineering? Unfortunately, you do. Yes, indeed you do. Very welcome. Need a data science course, Greg. Oh, I got those. We got mlnow.ai. We got that YouTube playlist I showed. We got lots of those. Hey, Greg from India. You're Mr. Unknown. Mr. Unknown is from India. You watch my solutions, but you're unable to solve leak code questions. Can you help me? You just need to keep doing it. Okay, seriously, just do more. Do the same ones that you've done more, and you will get better at it. How to become a cloud support associate? I have no idea. I bet Corsair has that, though. I got nothing for it. Cloud support associate. Well, that's probably a good idea. They seem to have that right there. Azure and AWS. Seems like a good place to start for me. Where do you currently work and what's my educational background? I currently work where I'm showing you right now, which is here. And my educational background is statistics from the University of Waterloo. Hey, Greg, when do you know you are ready to do interviews in Leak Code? Around after, like, definitely if you've done this Algorithm Up playlist, I would say you should be ready. You can do some extra questions to broaden your base and to rehearse for interviews. Definitely do some mock interviews. But around 100 questions or so is when I say you're probably ready-ish. The main thing is understanding what you've done. Like, most people will just learn stuff and forget it. You need to learn stuff and remember it, which means keep doing the stuff that you've done over and over again. Leak code solutions are great. Thank you, Raul. It's going well. Thank you. Since the recession is running, what do I suggest to get job interviews? Yeah, so the job market is tricky right now. To stand out, you do have to make a project that doesn't suck. Like, that is what I'm saying here. Like, to stand out and to try and get a job interview with low experience, it's very hard right now. It's very, very hard. So the way out of that, in my opinion, would be a project on something that hasn't been done, that takes a lot of time, that shows that you really do solve a problem of interest. And even better, if you can niche it. So if you can do something that's specific to a certain group, like, you know, renewable energy, electric energy, stuff like that, anything specific, and then you can start applying to those more specific companies. That is also helpful as well. Official Lyrics asked, what is my age? 3 times. Well, my age times 3, which you asked, is 75. So I'm 75. Great website, bro. AlgoMap helped a lot. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I am very glad to hear that. How to be good in programming, because I'm doing for past 3 months, it's not improving. Oh, 3 months is not enough, Amarjeet. You got to keep going. Got to keep going. Just keep writing code. Ask ChatGPT. Watch videos. Write your own code. Do projects. Do leak code. Just keep doing as much as you can. Try to pick one language so that you are not fighting between it too much. Hi, what advice would you give to an aspiring data analyst who has just started applying for roles? I mean, what are you trying? I guess if you're trying to get a job, yeah, to stand out definitely in data analytics. The best way, in my opinion, to stand out in data analytics is to learn the non-data analytics stuff, which is, you know, let's go with, let's write this as extra DA, extra data analytics. So it would be cloud, because a lot of people don't do that. It would be distributed, so that goes hand in hand with cloud, because that's a big part of the reason that it exists. And master of the basics, basically master fundamentals like Excel and the Python libraries or the R libraries or whatever you use there. These extra things here, most data analytics people are not learning them, and that's why when they apply to data analytics roles, they don't have quite the desired skills, because most people, like most YouTubers, when they say data analytics, they're just going to scream to you Excel, Power BI, you know, Spark and stuff like that, and that's all true. But if you can learn that extra stuff, like in general, it's like web development, that's going to really get you ahead. What is the best machine learning model for forecasting inflation? Right, it depends. There's actually a theory, and I think it's called the no free lunch theorem, which I'm going to throw at you. No free lunch. It's an easily understood consequence. Blah blah. That wasn't very helpful. Alludes to this saying, no such thing as a free lunch. There are no easy shortcuts to success. But in search and optimization for machine learning. Here we go. I love this guy. It's really good. The theorem states that all optimization algorithms perform equally well when their performance is averaged across all possible problems. It implies that there's no single best optimization algorithm, and because of the close relationship to machine learning, it's basically a way of saying that there's no guaranteed best model. And so there's literally basically a theorem that says, like, you have to try different models, and you're not sure which one is best. But in general, for forecasting, there's sequence-based models, but even stuff like linear regression it can be better. It depends. I'm gonna get rid of that. Full stack versus AI career path. So AI is becoming full stack. AI in terms of like OpenAI is a little bit different, because it's like very theory based and you have to really know your stuff. But in general, full stack development, you kind of have to know AI at this point anyway. I don't really know much about Web3. I'd have to learn about that to answer that. Okay, I'm so sorry. There's a lot of questions. Oh, there's a lot of chat. Yikes. Okay, so sorry guys, when I actually have to go shortly. In the future, if you want your questions answered, just become a member, which is as little as $1 a month, and you can pay more than that if you would like to donate and you appreciate it. Because when I get overloaded with chat like this, there's a lot of people here, I just can't answer all the questions. So if you want me to answer your question, just I think that link should be in this And you can probably find the button to just like join channel, become a member. If you do that, firstly, I'd appreciate it and I'd love you forever. And secondly, I would just be able to actually answer your question, and it's a pretty cheap barrier to entry to do that. So I recommend that you do. I'm going to send some cool emojis. This YouTube thing, it keeps popping up these funny emojis, pink waving. Yeah, here we go. This is me saying goodbye for now, I suppose. A green guy. Who's this green guy? I like him. Where to go after performing algo map? You can. There's more on the list here, so I'm going to keep adding to the all side. There's going to be bit manipulation stuff here shortly as well. Do I have any advice on how to get over interview nerves? Yeah, you'll have to. You have to do mock interviews with people, and you just keep doing it, keep doing real interviews, and it will get better. Okay, I'm going to go have lunch. Bye, folks. This was fun. Have a great day. Bye-bye.